Welcome to pesticide safety training for non-certified applicators, specifically designed for registered technicians working on non-agricultural sites. This program, modified by the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, emphasizes the importance of safe pesticide handling. This training is a result of a partnership between the U.S. EPA, University of California Davis Extension, and Oregon State University, with adaptation by the NCDA and CS. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, is a critical part of pesticide safety, but did you know requirements can vary widely between products? Always consult the label before handling any pesticide to ensure you're fully protected. Before we dive into specifics, let's set the stage. This introduction highlights why understanding pesticide safety is vital, not only for your own well-being, but for those around you and the environment. By mastering these principles, you'll be better equipped to apply pesticides responsibly and meet all regulatory expectations. Let's explore what makes annual training so essential for every technician. Who benefits from this training? It's tailored for registered technicians, those working under the direct supervision of a certified applicator on non-agricultural sites. Imagine being part of a team where everyone's safety depends on shared knowledge and best practices. Whether you're new to pesticide use or reinforcing your skills, this course will guide you in protecting yourself, your coworkers, and your community. Pesticide applications extend far beyond traditional farms, reaching a wide variety of non-agricultural sites. These include wildlands, urban areas, wood treatment facilities, structures, commodities, landscapes, and golf courses, as well as many other unique environments. For example, you might find yourself spraying a yard, tarping a building, or working on a construction site where termite pretreatments are essential. Each of these locations presents its own set of challenges and safety considerations. That's why it's so important to understand the specific risks and protocols for every site you work on, ensuring both effective pest management and the safety of everyone involved. Federal regulations require this training to inform you about the pesticide hazards you may encounter and demonstrate the steps you can take to protect yourself, your family, and others from pesticide exposure. You will also learn the specific responsibilities that apply to you and your supervisor when applying pesticides. What exactly is a pesticide? It's any substance used to control pests, like insects, rodents, or fungi. The EPA classifies pesticides into general use and restricted use categories. Restricted use pesticides carry higher risks. Just look at labels like paraquat dichloride that require special certification to handle safely. Knowing how pesticides are classified is your first step toward responsible application and compliance. Restricted use pesticides, or RUPs for short, are limited for purchase and use only by certified applicators or non-certified applicators working under their direct supervision under federal law. States and tribes may have more restrictive requirements, and it is important to be aware of and comply with all applicable regulations. RUPs have the potential to cause significant harm to people and the environment if not used according to the label instructions and without the proper training. There are no federal requirements for users to be certified to use general-use pesticides. However, some states, including North Carolina, do require that commercial applicators and public operators be certified and licensed to apply general-use pesticides to the property of another. What is the difference between a certified and non-certified applicator? A certified applicator must be at least 18 years old. Commercial applicators and private applicators qualify as certified applicators after demonstrating their knowledge of pesticides and pesticide safety. This is done by passing a written exam or through reciprocal agreements with various states. A non-certified applicator is a registered technician who may use pesticides only when under the direct supervision of a certified applicator or licensee. In most cases, non-certified applicators for non-agricultural pesticide applications must also be at least 18 years old. Direct supervision means that a certified applicator is responsible for overseeing the safe and legal use of pesticides by a non-certified applicator. Under federal law, This means the certified applicator must provide the non-certified applicator with a way to communicate immediately with the supervisor. The labeling directions of the pesticide product being used will determine if your supervisor must be physically present on site or if they may supervise from a location off-site. No one who isn't certified should handle pesticides unless they've been properly trained and qualified. What does pesticide-related work include? It covers mixing, loading, applying, maintaining equipment, cleaning containers, and any other activity involving pesticides. Supervisors are responsible for ensuring only those with proper qualifications perform these tasks, significantly reducing risks to both people and the environment. Proper oversight keeps operations safe and compliant with regulations. One way an uncertified pesticide applicator can become qualified is by completing the Registered Technician's Training Program. You must also complete this pesticide safety training within 12 months before any pesticide use. The supervising commercial certified applicator or licensee must keep a record of the training for at least 2 years. Pesticides and pesticide residues affect more than just pests. They impact our health, our communities, and our environment. This section will break down what pesticides are, where residues can be found, and why understanding their safe use is crucial for every technician. With guidance from the Pesticide Educational Resources Collaborative, you'll gain the knowledge needed to protect yourself and those around you. Pesticides come in many forms, each with specific uses and safety considerations. Insecticides target insects in fields or homes. Rodenticides are formulated to control rats and mice, often carrying strong warnings about human exposure. Termiticides are crucial at construction sites to protect structures from termites. Recognizing the differences helps you select the right product for each job while minimizing risks to people, pets, and the environment. Let's take a closer look at pesticides and their residues, focusing on both the types commonly used and the health effects they can have. Insecticides, rodenticides, and termiticides are all designed to target specific pests, but it's important to remember that their toxicity isn't limited to just those pests. They can also be harmful to humans. Health effects from pesticide exposure can differ widely from person to person, which is why minimizing exposure is so critical. By carefully reading labels, following safety protocols, and understanding the risks, we not only protect ourselves, but also help prevent harm to the environment, fish, wildlife, and even endangered or threatened species. Responsible use is essential. Protecting and preventing harm is at the core of every responsible pesticide application. It's not just about following rules, it's about actively safeguarding people, animals, property, and the environment. Every time we use pesticides, we must consider the broader impact. Are we protecting our communities, or are we risking unintended harm? By taking steps to prevent harm to the environment, we also help preserve fish, wildlife, and even endangered or threatened species. The images of people enjoying the outdoors and wildlife thriving remind us that our actions matter. Through vigilance and best practices, we ensure that our work supports a healthy, sustainable world for everyone. Preventing drift is a fundamental part of safe pesticide application, and it's more complex than it might seem. Drift can occur in several forms. Spray droplets, vapor, and even dust or particles can all move away from the intended target area. Why is this a concern? When pesticides drift, they can contaminate nearby properties, harm people, wildlife, or sensitive crops, and even impact water sources. Preventing drift isn't just about what happens in the air. Water runoff is another critical factor to consider. When pesticides are washed away by rain or irrigation, they can enter storm drains and eventually contaminate wetlands, rivers, or even drinking water supplies. The photo of a rainwater drain marked for wetlands serves as a powerful reminder. What goes down the drain can have far-reaching environmental consequences. That's why it's essential to follow site-specific precautions and always be mindful of where water flows after application. By taking these steps, we help protect aquatic ecosystems and ensure that our actions don't unintentionally harm the environment or public health. Preventing off-target movement is crucial for both safety and compliance. Always avoid drift, runoff, or any unintended movement of pesticides. These can cause harm to people, wildlife, and the environment. Before applying, carefully check weather conditions and your surroundings. If the wind picks up or rain is approaching, stop the application immediately. Monitoring conditions with proper equipment helps you stay proactive. By following these steps, you protect your community and uphold professional standards. Avoid drift, runoff, or pesticide movement away from a target site at all costs. If an application cannot be made without the potential for harm, then it must be avoided or stopped. Take extreme care and follow all of the protections and restrictions on the product label. Off-site movement of pesticides is a violation of pesticide laws. Pesticide residue can linger on surfaces long after application, posing risks to both you and others nearby. Wearing protective gear, like gloves, respirators, and boots, serves as your first line of defense against accidental exposure. Notice how residue can cling to clothing and footwear, increasing the risk of bringing contaminants home. Always be aware during application. By protecting yourself and maintaining strict hygiene, you safeguard everyone's health and well-being. Where does pesticide residue hide? It's not just on treated areas. It clings to equipment, work clothes, personal protective equipment, containers, and even soil. Each of these spots can become a source of exposure if not managed properly. Wearing gloves and protective clothing when handling sprayers or cleaning up helps prevent unintentional contact. Staying vigilant about residue locations ensures you minimize risks for yourself, coworkers, and anyone else who may come into contact with contaminated surfaces. How do pesticides enter the body? There are 4 main routes: through the eyes, especially when rubbing them or from splashes; through the nose by inhaling sprays, mists, dusts, or gases; via the mouth from eating, drinking, or even biting nails; and through skin contact during spills or when handling treated objects. Understanding these entry points helps you take targeted precautions, ensuring you stay safe every step of the way. Always wear the protective PPE required by the product label and know where to find the decontamination supplies. Being prepared for emergencies isn't optional, it's essential. At a minimum, always have soap, single-use towels, clean clothing, and an extra pair of shoes and water, ready on site. These items allow you to quickly wash off contaminants and change out of exposed clothing if needed. Prompt action can make a significant difference in preventing further exposure or injury. Keeping your emergency supplies organized means you're ready to respond effectively at a moment's notice. Clean water is your best ally in both routine maintenance and emergencies. For routine washing after pesticide exposure, like rinsing eyes, always use an eye wash station or emergency eye flushing supplies if available. But what if there's an emergency in the field and these are not available? Use the nearest clean water source, such as a stream or pond, to immediately rinse affected skin or eyes. Quick access to clean water helps reduce possible future harm. The pesticide label is your most important resource. It's more than just paperwork. It's a legal document that guides every aspect of safe pesticide use. Understanding label information is essential for regulatory compliance and effective application. Treat each label as your instruction manual for safety and success on the job. Remember, reading the label isn't just good practice, it's required by law. It is the responsibility of both you and the certified applicator supervising you to use each pesticide correctly by following the directions on the pesticide label. When you use a pesticide, your supervising applicator must give you access to the product label at all times while using the product, including mixing, loading, and/or applying. The label is the law. Labels are found on pesticide product containers and give you information on the safe and effective use of the product. As a pesticide applicator, reading, understanding, and following all the directions and application restrictions on a label is one of the most important parts of your job. This includes information that might be with and not on the container, such as a detachable pamphlet or a separate manual. If you cannot read and understand a product's labeling, your supervisor must explain it to you. In addition to the product label directions, Your supervising applicator must also provide you with instructions specific to the site, the equipment you are using, method of application, and any precautions you should take to perform the application. These instructions must also include ways to reduce risk to the environment. The image of workers in full protective gear reinforces the importance of setting the standard for safety. Remember, effective supervision protects everyone on your team and ensures regulatory compliance. It is important to know the different parts of a pesticide label and the information within each part. You should always review the product label before using any pesticide. Restricted use pesticides will contain a restricted use pesticide statement enclosed in a box located at the top of the front panel of the product label. This statement indicates why EPA classified the product as an RUP, whether its sale and use is limited to certified applicators only or also to non-certified applicators under the direct supervision of a certified applicator. This statement will also let you know if the certified applicator must be physically present when you use the product. Other important information you should know on pesticide product labels include the brand name or the commercial name of the pesticide. This is usually the biggest, most noticeable word on the front of the label. The EPA registration number is the unique number given to each pesticide by the EPA. This number identifies the product and gives medical personnel valuable information in an emergency. Signal words are found in capital letters on the front panel of a label that indicate how poisonous the product is. There are 4 signal words used to describe the immediate or acute short-term toxicity of the product. Danger with skull and crossbones and the word poison printed in red ink. This means that the pesticide is highly toxic or extremely poisonous and will make you very sick or may cause death if absorbed through one or more routes, including the skin, if swallowed or if inhaled. Danger means the pesticide is very poisonous if it enters your body, or it is corrosive and causes irreversible damage to the skin or eyes. Even small amounts of this product will cause serious harm. Warning means the pesticide is moderately toxic or poisonous through one or more routes, including if absorbed through the skin, if swallowed, or if inhaled, or causes moderate eye or skin irritation. Caution means slightly toxic, but it can still make you sick if absorbed through one or more routes, including by the skin, if inhaled, or if it gets into the eye. The first aid instructions tell you what to do if you get the pesticide in your eyes, inhale it into your lungs, swallow it, or get it on your skin. It also provides a number to call in case of an emergency. The precautionary statements explain the potential hazards to humans and domestic animals, health risks, and the protections you need to take while using the product. It will also tell you what personal protective equipment (PPE) you must use when mixing, loading, or applying the pesticide, or when you clean, repair, and maintain application equipment. The type of PPE depends on the toxicity of the product. The environmental hazard statement is found under the precautionary statements. It gives you information about how the pesticide can harm the environment and the steps you must take to prevent contamination. The Directions for Use section opens with 2 important statements, reminding the applicator to follow all pesticide label directions and not to allow the pesticide to contact anyone directly or indirectly. This section identifies the sites where you may use the pesticide, the application rates, the type of equipment to use, and any application restrictions. All the information on the product label is very important to the safety and success of your work. Other things your supervising certified applicator or licensee must do, and that you may do to be safe when applying pesticides are: your supervising licensee is responsible for inspecting your equipment each day before it is used for mixing, loading, transferring, or applying pesticides to make sure it is working correctly. They must also ensure that you know how to use the equipment safely to prevent accidents or pesticide exposure to you, others, or the environment. Transporting pesticides demands careful planning. Always secure pesticides away from driver or passenger compartments to avoid accidental exposure during transit. Before setting out, check each container for leaks or damage. They must be protected at all times. And remember, Never leave pesticides unattended and store them in a locked area. The warning signs and secure storage areas shown here serve as reminders that diligence during transport is crucial for everyone's safety. Information on how to store or dispose of unused product is typically found near the end of the label. Specific storage conditions, such as the temperature range or distance from other products, may be required to keep the product safe for future use or from creating a hazard, such as a fire or environmental contamination. If a pesticide spill occurs, immediate action is critical. First, protect yourself by putting on proper PPE. Your safety comes first. Always contact your supervisor for instructions or in an emergency. Call 911. For additional help, call the emergency contact number listed on the product label. Finally, apply the 4Cs approach to manage the spill effectively. These steps can make all the difference between a controlled situation and a hazardous emergency. The 4Cs for emergency spills are: control the spill, stop the spill or leak by returning the container to an upright position, turning off the pump, or closing valves. Contain the spill with absorbent material, such as kitty litter, sand, or clay. Keep others away from the spill area. Clean up the spill. Never wash it down, as this will only contaminate a much larger area. Dispose of pesticide waste according to label directions and in a safe and legal manner. Contact your supervising applicator immediately. North Carolina does require reporting of pesticide spills. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, is the foundation of pesticide safety for every registered technician. This presentation, brought to you by the Pesticide Educational Resources Collaborative, introduces you to the essential practices and standards for PPE. Why does PPE matter? Because your health and the safety of those around you depend on it. Let's explore how proper use of protective equipment ensures compliance and minimizes risk during every application. Every pesticide label contains critical safety information, and following its PPE requirements is non-negotiable. The label clearly lists what you must wear: long-sleeved shirts, long pants, and shoes with socks to protect yourself from exposure. It also provides vital instructions on cleaning and maintaining your gear, plus user safety recommendations and first aid steps in case of emergency. Never underestimate the importance of reading the label before handling any pesticide. It is the responsibility of the certified applicator supervising you to provide the PPE that is required by the product label and make sure it is worn and used correctly when mixing, loading, applying, or otherwise using pesticides. PPE must be clean and in proper operating condition. Depending on the protection that is needed for the pesticide you are using, PPE is made from different types of materials and can be reusable or disposable. Reusable PPE, such as gloves, aprons, eye protection, coveralls, boots, and respirators, must be properly cleaned and maintained after each use. If PPE is torn or saturated with pesticides, throw it away. Never use damaged PPE, and never clean and reuse single-use PPE. Respirators are a specialized form of PPE designed to protect you from inhaling hazardous pesticide particles or vapors. Proper fit and usage are crucial. An ill-fitting respirator offers little protection. In these images, notice how experienced technicians check their masks before each use and ensure a secure seal. Consistent training and routine checks make all the difference in preventing respiratory exposure during pesticide application. Your supervising applicator or licensee is responsible to ensure you take all the steps necessary to wear a respirator safely. To avoid contact with pesticides and pesticide residue, never remove your PPE when you are doing activities such as mixing and loading or working on application equipment. When finished using a repeat, remove each piece of PPE in a specific order to prevent exposure to residues. Remember that dirty gloves touch the outside of dirty PPE, and clean gloves or clean hands touch the clean parts of your PPE. Always wear gloves, eye protection, and boots when washing dirty PPE, and keep your clean clothes and clean PPE in an area free from pesticides or pesticide residues. Protecting yourself goes beyond what you wear at work. Keep clean clothing away from pesticides to avoid contamination at home. After handling pesticides, wash your body thoroughly with soap and shampoo your hair to remove any residues. Always change into clean clothes afterward. These simple actions help prevent accidental transfer of pesticides to your skin or loved ones, making them a vital part of your daily routine. Protecting yourself, your coworkers, and your family is a responsibility that extends far beyond the workplace. This section of the training emphasizes that your actions on the job can have a direct impact on the health and safety of those around you, both at work and at home. By following best practices and adhering to safety guidelines, you not only reduce your own risk of pesticide exposure, but you also help create a safer environment for everyone. Since it is possible that harmful pesticide residues may be on you and your work clothes, there are things you can do to protect yourself, your coworkers, your children, and other family members from being exposed to pesticide residues. Children and pregnant individuals are especially at risk as pesticide exposure may lead to birth defects, learning problems, low birth weight, premature birth, or miscarriage. To keep everyone safe, you should wash your hands before touching your eyes or mouth and before eating, drinking, and smoking, chewing gum or tobacco, using the toilet, and handling your phone. Never take pesticides or empty pesticide containers home with you. Even if they are rinsed, they are never completely free of pesticides. Do not put pesticides in any unmarked container, and never pour pesticides from their original containers into food or beverage containers. This is very dangerous and illegal. An unsuspecting adult or child may mistake the pesticide for food or drink and swallow it. Simple routines at home can make a world of difference. Remove work shoes before entering to keep pesticide residues outside. Wash your work clothes separately from the rest of the family's laundry to prevent cross-contamination. Whenever possible, air dry work clothing outdoors. Sunlight helps break down any lingering chemicals. By following these habits, you're actively protecting everyone under your roof. Exposure to pesticides and pesticide residues can be harmful to anyone, so keep household members away from treated areas or items that may have pesticide residue on them. Remember to always keep pesticides out of the reach of children. By handling and storing pesticides properly, you're not just meeting regulations, you're safeguarding everyone around you. Remember, safety is everyone's responsibility, every single day. Pesticide illnesses are a critical topic for every registered technician to understand. As we begin this section, keep in mind that even the safest procedures can't eliminate all risks. Understanding how pesticide exposure impacts health prepares you to recognize hazards before they become emergencies. Let's explore what makes pesticide illnesses unique and why vigilance matters. Why are some people more affected by pesticides than others? It comes down to two key factors: exposure and hazard. Exposure means coming into contact with pesticides or their residue. Sometimes individuals may be more vulnerable due to health or genetic reasons. Hazard refers to the potential harm these chemicals pose to your health. The image of a technician in full protective gear highlights the reality. Proper PPE and minimizing exposure are your best defense against illness. An acute pesticide illness is one that occurs shortly after a single or short-term exposure incident, and the symptoms are usually seen within 24 hours. Some of the most common symptoms include headaches, sweating, weakness, rapid or slow pulse, nausea, or loss of consciousness. Acute pesticide poisoning can be serious and require medical treatment, and in extreme cases, people can die. A chronic pesticide illness can result from repeated exposures to small amounts of pesticides over a long period of time. The symptoms of a chronic pesticide illness may be delayed, meaning they may not show up until long after the exposure has taken place. Serious chronic or delayed effects may include cancer or damage to your respiratory or nervous system. Repeated pesticide exposure may cause sensitization to the pesticide you were exposed to. This is similar to an allergic reaction that may get worse with each time you are exposed and can even become life-threatening. Typical reactions from sensitization are rashes and breathing problems. If you think you have symptoms caused by any type of pesticide exposure, contact your employer or supervisor at once and get medical attention. Emergencies can happen when you least expect them. That's why knowing the basics of emergency decontamination and first aid is vital for anyone working with pesticides. Quick, decisive action in those first moments can make a significant difference in preventing serious injury or long-term health problems. This section will equip you with essential steps so you're ready to respond effectively if an incident occurs. Exposure to pesticides can be hazardous. As previously mentioned, pesticides can enter your body through four main routes. Skin, eyes, nose, and mouth are all vulnerable points of entry. Even with proper precautions, accidental contact can happen quickly, whether it's a splash on your hand, mist in your eyes, or inhaling fumes. Recognizing these entry routes helps you focus your safety efforts and reinforces why consistent use of personal protective equipment is absolutely essential. Knowing the symptoms of exposure through these routes and knowing what to do if you or a coworker are exposed to pesticides is important for everyone's safety. Your supervising applicator is required to provide a way to immediately communicate with you the entire time you are working with pesticides in case of a pesticide emergency. This simple step saves lives and ensures rapid response when it matters most. Many of the pesticide exposures and injuries are from pesticides entering the body through the skin. Pesticide contact with skin can occur while mixing, loading, making applications, splashes, drips, or drift, or if you contact pesticide residue on plants, soil, dirty work clothes, or contaminated equipment. Even something as common as handling your cell phone with contaminated gloves can transfer hazardous residues. Some pesticides cause skin irritation or may pass through the skin and be absorbed into the bloodstream, causing more severe reactions or complications. If you think you've been exposed to pesticides on your skin, it's crucial to act immediately. First, remove any contaminated clothing without delay. This simple step can prevent further absorption of harmful chemicals. Next, wash the affected area thoroughly with soap and water, making sure to clean all exposed skin, not just the obvious spots. Don't underestimate the importance of this step. Even small residues can cause irritation or more serious health effects. If you notice any symptoms, such as redness, itching, or discomfort, seek medical attention right away. Prompt action not only protects your health, but also demonstrates your commitment to safety and professional standards on the job. Your eyes are especially vulnerable when working with pesticides as the tissues are extremely absorbent. Hazards like dust, airborne particles, splashes, spills, even broken hoses can cause serious injury. Rubbing your eyes or using dirty PPE increases the risk further. Always remain alert. Protect your eyes with the right gear and avoid touching them during work. Prevention here isn't just about comfort, it's about protecting one of your most valuable senses. If a pesticide gets into your eye, flush it out immediately by rinsing with an eye wash kit or any source of clean water. Make sure that the water flow is gentle and that you turn your head so the injured eye is below the good eye. This will stop contaminated water from going into the unaffected eye. Keep the injured eye as wide open as you can and continue flushing for at least 15 minutes. To avoid further eye injury, make sure that the water is clean, not too hot, and never put anything in the water or in the eye. Get medical attention as soon as possible. Oral exposure to pesticides often happens during everyday activities: eating, drinking, smoking, chewing gum, or using tobacco on the job. It's easy to forget that these simple actions can introduce harmful chemicals into your body if hands or surfaces are contaminated. Always wash your hands thoroughly before any break and avoid consuming food or drinks in areas where pesticides are present. Small habits like these play a big role in keeping you safe and compliant. If someone accidentally ingests pesticides, always follow the first aid instructions found on the pesticide label. Never try to make a person vomit if they are unconscious, having convulsions, or lying face up. It can be extremely dangerous. Instead, seek medical attention as quickly as possible. Prompt professional care greatly increases the chance of a positive outcome. These guidelines help ensure that emergencies are managed safely and effectively. Breathing in pesticide vapors, dust, or spray particles poses serious health risks for technicians. Once in the lungs, pesticides can enter other parts of the body quickly and damage other organs. These hazards aren't always visible, so how can you protect yourself? Recognizing common sources of inhalation exposure is the first step toward prevention. Whether you're handling gas cylinders or working in treated areas, using proper respiratory protection and following safety protocols is essential for reducing risk and maintaining regulatory compliance. If you or someone else has inhaled a pesticide, assess the situation to make sure it is safe to enter the area and never go into an enclosed area unless you protect yourself with the appropriate respiratory equipment. If it is safe to enter, get the person to fresh air and loosen any clothing that might make breathing difficult. Inhalation of a pesticide can be very serious, and it is important to get emergency medical treatment as quickly as possible. Besides pesticide exposure, hot working conditions can also harm you. If you are working in excessive heat with limited air movement or high humidity and start to feel sick or dizzy, it could be heat stress and not pesticide exposure. If you have heart problems, high blood pressure, diabetes, or other medical issues, you are at a much higher risk for heat-related illnesses than someone without these conditions. Heat-related illnesses happen when you sweat and your body loses much-needed moisture and salt. The results can be mild or very serious, and the action you take can make a difference. Take precautions to prevent heat-related illnesses by considering the heat and humidity you are working in, the PPE you are wearing, your access to shade, taking frequent short breaks, and most importantly, drinking plenty of water. The 4 most common heat-related illnesses, their symptoms, and the first aid steps you can take are heat rash. This is a skin irritation, such as hives and blisters. If you develop a skin irritation, keep the affected area dry, and if possible, change your work environment. Heat cramps. Depleting your body of salts and water leads to cramps usually in the stomach, arms, and legs. This is an early warning sign of heat illness. Symptoms of heat exhaustion include heavy sweating, clammy, moist skin, extreme weakness or fatigue, dizziness, nausea, and rapid breathing. Heat exhaustion can become a heat stroke. Heat stroke is the most dangerous heat-related illness. This is where the body seriously overheats and cannot cool itself down. Symptoms include hot and dry skin, little if any sweating, chills, a throbbing headache, confusion, and seizures. A person can become unconscious, suffer permanent disabilities, or die very quickly from heat stroke. Take these symptoms seriously and call 911 immediately. Inform your supervisor and stay with the person until professional medical help arrives. If you or someone else shows signs of heat-related illness, move to a cool or shaded area, remove PPE and extra clothing, and drink water. If possible, use a fan or cool, wet compresses on the head and neck to cool down or take a cool bath or shower. When your body overheats and cannot control its temperature, you can die quickly without immediate medical treatment. As you can see, many of the symptoms of heat-related illnesses and pesticide poisonings are similar. This can make it difficult to determine the cause of the symptoms without knowing the circumstances behind them. Both pesticide poisoning and heat stroke can be life-threatening and require immediate treatment. You must know how and when to obtain medical care. If you suspect either pesticide poisoning or a heat-related illness, the most important thing to do is to get medical help immediately. Take these symptoms seriously. Call 911 immediately and inform your supervisor. Stay with the person until professional medical help arrives. Never drive yourself, as you may be placing yourself and others in even more danger. This training has covered many topics related to the potential hazards of pesticides, especially when using restricted-use pesticides. We have explained the responsibilities that belong to you and of your supervisor to prevent pesticide exposures. These responsibilities include reading, understanding, and following the pesticide label directions, and the importance of using the correct personal protective equipment required by the label. Staying prepared means recognizing the signs of pesticide exposure or heat-related illness before they escalate. Do you know what symptoms to look for? Early recognition allows for prompt action. You should also be confident in performing basic decontamination and first aid. These skills can make a vital difference in emergencies. Finally, always keep emergency contact numbers handy. Whether it's poison control, Chemtrack, or your local department, knowing who to call ensures help is just a moment away. If you ever suspect a pesticide use violation in North Carolina, immediate reporting is essential for community safety. Contact the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, Structural Pest Control and Pesticides Division using the phone number or website provided. 2 QR codes make it simple. One links to reporting non-structural or agricultural concerns, the other for structural pest control issues. Your vigilance helps maintain regulatory compliance and safeguards both people and the environment. Industries that use non-certified applicators to apply pesticides under the direct supervision of a certified applicator want you to have the information you need to be safe. These regulations are in place not only for your own protection, but also for the protection of your coworkers, your family, and our environment. If you want a copy of your training record, or if you have any questions about the topics covered in this video, be sure to ask your trainer or supervising certified applicator or licensee. The Pesticide Educational Resources Collaborative brings together experts from top institutions, such as University of California, Davis, Oregon State University, and the US EPA. Their collaboration guarantees that your annual training meets the highest standards for safety and regulatory compliance. This teamwork, from reviewing materials to producing visuals, ensures you receive practical, up-to-date information to support your annual training and daily responsibilities. By involving professionals from various backgrounds, including fire districts and pest control companies and various stakeholders, the PERC team delivers comprehensive educational experiences that reflect actual field conditions. We extend our deepest gratitude to the many individuals and organizations who have contributed to the success of this training program. This presentation has been thoughtfully modified by the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services to address the specific needs and regulations of our state. One significant update is the expansion of training requirements. Now, all pesticides applied commercially in North Carolina require annual training for registered technicians, not just restricted use products. This change ensures that every applicator, regardless of the type of pesticide used, is equipped with the latest safety knowledge and regulatory guidance. The official seal and the Pesticide Educational Resources Collaborative logo underscore the authority and reliability of this information, reinforcing our shared commitment to safety and compliance. You or your licensee can now download the RT Training Video Certificate to verify completion of the required training. Be sure to include it in your employee training records. Access the certificate on our website or by following the link shown.